Hello and welcome to another episode of Love, Life, and Light. I'm your host, Kayla Lightnez, photographer, storyteller, and founder of KNL Photography. I'm so glad you're here with me today, ready to dive into the beauty of love, spirituality, and personal growth. Now, have you ever held on something so tightly, maybe a past mistake, a grudge, or the pain someone caused you, that it felt like a weight on your heart? Today, we're talking about forgiveness, what it really means, why it starts with you, and how releasing resentment can set you free. Now, forgiveness isn't just for others, but for yourself. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean excusing hurtful actions, it means freeing yourself. See, when you forgive, you don't forgive for other people, you forgive for yourself, because what matters most is letting go and finding that peace within yourself. See, when you don't let go of forgiveness, it can manifest into stress, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. See, that drains you when you hold on to that resentment for so long. Now, I've struggled with this myself. I'm not perfect. There was a time in my life where someone close to me, they really hurt me. Not just that, but like a lot of people at once hurt me. And it was really hard for the longest time to let go of that pain, that hurt, because not only did it change me, it changed my whole life. And for a while, it just took me a minute. I didn't talk to friends. The only family I really talked to was my mother and my brother, and I just avoided everybody like the plague. My friends know me as like the blocking queen. I literally, like, if I'm upset with you, I'll block you. That was my mentality. But it took me a second, and I felt very heavy, and I just didn't feel the same. But for me, it took a while. Um, but over time, as I stopped focusing on forgiving for that person or those people and just focused on myself and learning to forgive for myself, it kind of helped me just letting go. And um, it it didn't take it wasn't overnight, you know, because even though I was learning to forgive, I still couldn't forget. So it didn't happen overnight, but little by little, the more I enjoyed life and the more I just went about my day and did things I wanted to do and just did things in self-love and self-peace and building my relationship with God, it slowly helped me let go of the past. And as I start to let go of the past and things that no longer serve me, forgiveness for myself became much easier. Therefore, over time, I've learned to fully forgive that person and what they did to me. So, but it was a struggle. But I've also learned that in photography, if I'm all about promoting love and showing love through my photography, how can I really execute that if me myself is holding on to that resentment, that anger? Because I do everything with emotion, with energy, with love. And if I'm feeling anger, resentment in my heart, it shows off in my photography. And not only that, but the person I'm taking my pictures for, they see that, and I feel like it doesn't resonate my work to the best of my ability if I'm refusing to let go. And it kind of goes on to my next topic, where just like in photography, where you have to adjust the exposure and lighting to bring clarity to an image. It's adjusting our mindset towards forgiveness to bring clarity into our hearts. And as we talked about self love and to our last episodes and spiritual healing, it brings into our next topic that there's a whole spiritual side to forgiveness. And when you go to that journey of forgiveness, it connects us to our faith with God, our grace, and our divine love. Because as we all learn to embrace our divine selves and our divine love, and as we build a closer connection and our faith in God, God teaches us about love and about grace. And I've learned that myself as we build a closer relationship, then releasing resentment is just another form of surrender. It's trusting that healing process with God. It's understanding that giving God everything. When you hear people say just surrender to God, just surrender to God. What does that mean? What does that mean to surrender? It means releasing everything that you're holding on to, including resentment. And I have a question for you guys. What's something you need to forgive yourself for? For me, it's when I was going through my self-healing process and learning to forgive others. I've learned deep inside of myself that there was resentment in myself and the way I looked, the way I felt about myself. And I'm someone who doesn't try not to think negatively about my self-image, but sometimes at that time in my life, I was very resentment over myself, how I looked, how I presented myself. At that point, I wasn't in college. I didn't have my business. I gave up on photography. So people around me, they had children, they were married, they had their masters. So I did not forgive myself of where I put myself. So as I just kind of like took a step back and not talked to anybody, didn't talk to my friends, not any of my family, but my mom and my brother, it helped me really look at myself and kind of realize more than anything, the person I need to forgive first and foremost is myself. And as I learned that, before I could forgive anybody else, I have to forgive for myself to me. And the minute I did that, and the minute I started loving myself again, that's when the self-healing and self-love, I mean, it took time, but like it really did help. But then eventually to the place where I'm at now, it really helped just learning and going through that process. Because even in photography, when I edit my photos, when I'm looking at each person to enhance their beauty, I'm not photoshopping anything real crazy. Like, all I'm really doing is enhancing their beauty, but not erasing the real moments. I'm all about capturing love and beauty in the moment, whether it's self-love, love with a partner, love with a family. I'm all about capturing the moment in real time. And in life as well, forgiveness helps us embrace the imperfections while still seeing the beauty in our journey. And that's how I really feel with forgiveness. Because, like I said, you can forgive, but you don't forget. You don't forget the people who've hurt you. You don't forget your past because it builds into the character of who you became. So you can't erase that. but you can forgive the past hurts. And that has been a process I have been learning every day and getting better of every day. So another way that has helped me to release resentment is acknowledging the pain, but understanding that that pain does not define me. And that really took me a while, but besides that is also shifting your perspective, because I believe everything happens for a reason, good or bad. So it's understanding to see the lesson, not just for the hurt. Like, whoever hurt you in the past is understanding that, don't just think of it like, man, that they hurt me. And you just focused on the hurt and anger portion, but focusing on the lesson you've learned from that hurt. And I felt that I've grown more into a person today than I was when that happened. Um, Also, honestly, like I've stated earlier, practicing self-compassion. It's reminding yourself every day that you are worthy of having that peace and releasing it spiritually. It's acknowledging the pain, acknowledging the lesson in the pain, reminding yourself you are worthy, and then releasing it to God, whether it's through prayer, journaling, or meditation, whatever is in your spiritual path or journey, it's releasing that. And then that's when the self-healing comes. To me personally, I I got this advice. I wrote a letter to that person. They never got it. They were never going to get it. But I put their names and I just wrote a long letter. Everything that I felt, I poured it into the letter, all my feelings. And we have a fire pit. So after I wrote everything, I burned the letter. And to me, spiritually, that kind of just symbolized letting go. Like letting go of that pain, that hurt. And then as I built my relationship with God afterwards, it's having that one-on-one prayer that, I would pray to God, I would meditate. But it felt good for me when I released that spiritually. And just like in photography, we adjust the focus to bring clarity as well, because in life, it's all about shifting our focus from resentment to peace to bring clarity to our souls. The weight of unforgiveness impacts our mental health and relationships as well. Holding on to grudges affects your mental and emotional well being. The way forgiveness strengthens relationships is by allowing room for grace and understanding. Like I said, when I was going through my time of anger and resentment, I, in because of situations as well, but a lot of relationships with like my friends and my family, it was strained, and um some for good reasons, some for not good reasons, but it kind of affected the way I saw life and I saw things. So, and even with what happened with that person, it kind of destroyed that relationship as a whole. So, it really just took me a minute to find myself again. My mental health wasn't in the right place. So, I really just dropped everything and focused on what was the best path for me. Because now my relationships are fine and we're all in a good place. But it just took a minute. It took a minute to really hone that in and to figure out what is the best path for me. And Just like in a portrait where I have a subject in front of me and the subject's expression tells a story. When we choose forgiveness, we soften our own expressions, our energy changes, and so do relationships. Because each lesson tells a story, and just like how we are learning to forgive, it changes us. We're not the same person that we walked away from that. How we are before and how we are after, I believe everyone has grew into their own selves when you go through that path of forgiveness. But I think it's also important to know that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Just because you forgive, you will never forget. It means freeing yourself to grow. Whether you're forgiving yourself or someone else, is remembering that healing is a journey, not a one-time decision. It's important to know that forgiveness starts with self-love and grace. Releasing resentment creates space for peace and growth, and letting go doesn't mean erasing the past. It just means choosing a lighter future. Now, take a moment today to reflect. What's one thing you need to forgive yourself for? Journal it, pray about it, or simply just say it out loud. If this episode spoke to you, share your thoughts in the comments below, or follow me, Kano Photography, on my Spotify and YouTube, as well as Facebook and Instagram. And remember, life is a series of moments. Capture them with love, embrace the light, and trust the bigger picture. Until next time, stay in love, life, and light.